What is going on, beautiful people? Welcome to a special episode of Deadliest Weapons. Today we are going to take a look at the Garnet Anarchist as part of my celebration for hitting 2,000 subscribers. And this is obviously one of my favorite weapons. It is what my channel is named after. And this is, of course, a Vladoff pistol with a Vladoff barrel, so it does get that nice matching barrel bonus, which I'm not sure what it is, but I will show it on screen. For those of you who saw my previous videos, I did say whenever I got to 2,000 subscribers, I would do a special episode where I showed you guys my super smart, super handsome cat Shadow opening a door because he's a very good boy. So we will go ahead and show you guys that. So yeah, as you can see, very smart boy. He knows exactly the perfect techniques to open that door. Very good boy. So if you think he is smart and handsome and awesome, why not like, subscribe, comment, maybe become a member? Have I mentioned that Veracitous Slayers got early access? I'm sure Shadow would really appreciate it. But yeah, guys, really, I do really appreciate the support. And let's go ahead and get on into the bulk of the video here. So again, the Garnet Anarchist is one of the best weapons in the game. I can't remember if I called it It's Better Than You Think or Deadliest Weapons. I should have called it a Deadliest Weapon. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and use the gemstone skin here, which for those of you who don't know, does give you plus 7.5% critical chance and gives you a small chance to reflect bullets. Because again, it is my name, so I feel I should be allowed to use it. And I usually do at least one run with it anyway. But obviously, the Anarchist has two unique versions. First of all, we have the Infinity. Now, the Infinity is not one of my personal favorite weapons, but it is really good on Zero. It, may not be quite his best option compared to sniping and melee, but it is very good, and that is because it has one round in the magazine, and so it just always benefits from one shot, one kill. So this thing with a legendary sniper is really good. I actually did that build on the very first video on this channel. If you guys would like to check that out, I will link to that. But yeah, you can use a legendary sniper and it'll boost one shot, one kill and precision, which is another bad thing about the Infinity is the sideways 8 pattern. I don't think there's another name for that. It's just called the sideways 8. But yeah, there is obviously going to be an issue with using that at range, but with precision, you can, tighten the spread a bit. So again, while I personally like the Anarchist better, I mean, on Zero, the Infinity is going to perform better. It is going to have better damage, So yeah, again, the Infinity, very good on Zero, just not one of my personal favorites. And while the Anarchist may not be as good as the Infinity on Zero, it's still incredibly good. And I mean, honestly, it's going to have much better range. So considering that and how much stopping power Zero already has with it, maybe you could argue that in at least mobbing scenarios, you might prefer the Anarchist for the better range. For bossing, I'm sure the Infinity is still going to be quite a bit better. Now, that said, there's also the Stinger. The Stinger, let me do a direct comparison with the stats here with the Anarchist and the Infinity first. So you can see the Anarchist actually has better base damage. It has better accuracy. It says it has worse accuracy, but because of the Infinity's pattern, the Anarchist has better accuracy. Then the Anarchist has better fire rate, and the Infinity has basically infinite reload speed and magazine size. They don't really matter because it does not consume ammo, right? So, and then with the Stinger here, it actually has identical stats to the Anarchist. So if you have a gemstone skin, the Anarchist will actually out-damage the Stinger. The Stinger, all it does is it shoots slow-moving bullets that ricochet. So it's kind of almost a downgrade to the regular Anarchist. But honestly, the best thing about the Stinger is just how easy it is to get. Because it drops at compared to the Anarchist. You have to be able to beat the dragons, but once you do, it drops from them at a 33% rate. So this thing is actually like the easiest version of this weapon to get. Doc Mercy drops the Infinity at a 10% rate. But once you get good against the dragons with Zero, you can farm them pretty easily. So I actually consider the Stinger like the most accessible version. As far as like how easy it is to actually farm a good version. Now that said, it is arguably like the least good version out of all three of these. But, it's going to be extremely difficult to get a Garnet Anarchist like this. Now that said, one more thing to mention is, with the fire rate of 11.4, that is so high that it will not get the full bonus from Two Fang. When your fire rate gets so high, for some reason Two Fang will not work properly. It'll only activate sometimes. It won't get the full benefit. So beware of that if you have the Vladoff grip here or a fire rate accessory. Now, I'm not going to be using a perfect version here with Zero. I'm going to use... Where is it here? I'm going to use this version that has the Jacob's grip. And that will actually lower the fire rate to the point that it will actually benefit from Two Fang more. So I kind of like the Jacob's grip, almost as well. Maybe the Vladoff grip would still be better because of the other bonuses. But these are going to perform extremely similarly. If not, I mean, again, because of that two-fang interaction, maybe even for Zero, the Jacob's grip might be better. Now, Loot Lemon does consider the fire rate accessory to be better on this weapon, but personally, I prefer the damage accessory. You know, what is perfect gear is, you know, subjective at times. But yeah, I really like this weapon, one of my favorite weapons. Maybe my favorite non-unique. I also really like the synergy. I would like to cover it as well. We'll get started here again with this version with a Jacob's grip and a damage accessory. I'll go ahead and, yeah, show my skills and stuff here. Yeah, the Infinity, again, is very good. I just don't like the Anarchist is one of my favorite weapons, and I wish the unique version got more interesting effects other than shoot slow-moving bullets that ricochet and bad accuracy and infinite ammo on a weapon that you're not often going to be in a situation where you're out of ammo with it anyway. I mean, it does consume ammo quickly, but it's easy to get back, so. Now also, some people have asked me why I skip velocity, because I'm missing out on damage. Guys, that is because I consider the Slag Pimpernel to be the best slag tool in the game. It shoots like 7 total projectiles that each have 2 65% slag chances because of the splash damage, and velocity will actually hurt its ability to do that a bit. And it's the best for stripping shields too. It can do it at close range, medium range, long range. So I find that Zero has enough damage, that's why I skip velocity. Yeah, I'm gonna try to address some comments I've been getting. Some people ask me why I don't like test these weapons against bosses in these videos. If you guys want to check out my build videos, I do bossing in those videos, because to me, bossing on OP10 is more about good builds and good gameplay. It's not really a weapon specific thing in my opinion. Like Zero can boss effectively with basically all sniper rifles. Ma could boss effectively with a lot of different SMGs. And like I said, if you want to see bossing gameplay, like my Shotgun Zero video recently, I did 4 different shotgun builds, and I took on bosses with each of those. So, like with the, recently I covered the Invader, Zero could boss with the Invader. You know, some other characters probably couldn't do it very effectively. But I think what I'm going to do is, I'm going to come up with this tier system, and I'll rank each weapon in it. And I've come up with 4 different tiers, and I'll hear your guys' feedback and see what you think about it. But for me, tier 1 would be the best. Tier 1 is going to be weapons that, I mean, just look at how good that is, holy crap. Tier 1 is going to be weapons that are good for mobbing and bossing on multiple characters. You know, you can throw them on a lot of different situations and they'll do well. So stuff like the Herald, the Sandhawk, the Pimpernel, you know. All those are going to be good. You can throw them in a lot of different situations and they'll excel. And then tier 2 would be weapons that can be good for bossing and mobbing with the right character and the right build. So, you know, the Invader with Zero would be good for bossing. It's going to be good for mobbing on multiple characters, him and Mai for sure. Other characters probably as well. Maybe like the Omen. The Omen is a good shotgun for bossing with Zero because he's just good with shotguns. And then for Axton, because he can boost the grenade damage, he can be very good with the Omen. So both of those characters could effectively mob and boss with the Omen. Maybe like the Bone Shredder. Mai can boss with it. I bet Zero could too. So that would be tier 2 weapons. Again, weapons that, with the right character and build, they can be effective for mobbing and bossing. Then tier 3 weapons would be weapons that can be effective at least for mobbing on the right character. He did not get slagged, and that just messed me up. But like, that would be stuff like the Bearcat and the Wanderlust. Like Krieg can actually boss pretty, or not boss, he can mob effectively with them. It gets very hard to focus on the gameplay when I'm talking like this. So I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm losing my focus really badly here. It's very, very, very hard to do live commentary while you're recording your gameplay and stuff. Alright. Got him knocked back. There we go, jeez. He shedded slag. This is very sloppy, I'm sorry, guys. I'll kill him and get my train of thought back here. That was so bad. Okay, but yeah. So that, yeah, like I said, tier 3 weapons would be weapons which are good for at least mobbing on the right character. So again, Bearcat, Wanderlust, because Krieg can boost their Pure Splash, he can actually be pretty effective with them. Mr. TX01 has covered that. If you would like to check that video out, I link to it frequently. I will link to it here. And then like the Storm, not good for most characters in most situations, but Zero can mob with it pretty effectively. So that would be tier 3. Good at least for mobbing, even if they're not good for bossing. Then tier 4 would be weapons which are not good for mobbing or bossing on any character. And I don't know what weapon that might be. There's probably something that fits that. I think most weapons will be probably between tier 2 and tier 3. Like the Anarchist, I would probably consider a tier 2 weapon. With the right character and the right build, it's going to be effective for bossing and mobbing. Zero could boss with it, certainly. But let me know your thoughts on that. And even that is going to be kind of subjective. I mean, people will have different opinions on that. And, you know, like all sniper rifles are at least pretty good with Zero when boosted by critical ascension. So how do you factor that in? And like Gauge with Anarchy, how does that factor in? So a lot of different stuff to consider. Another thing is, like, there's a wide variety of difficulty. Like, there's a big disparity between how difficult some of the bosses are. Some of them are very easy, and some of them are very tough. So, a weapon might be good for certain bosses and not for others. Right. Okay, see if this guy will look at me. There we go. Excellent damage there, you see. So for me, if a weapon can at least take on mobs and, like, badass enemies and stuff, that's a pretty good weapon. You know, we're talking about OP10, where enemies are pretty tough. And I don't play with bar. So for me, a weapon is good if it can at least do that, you know. I would say a weapon is great if it's good for bossing on multiple characters. But again, those 4 tiers are kind of how I mentally divide up weapons. Another problem with that tier system would be, like, I would have to re-explain it in every video, you know. Because people are not going to see every single video I make. Each individual person, you know. But that's why I tend to avoid bossing with these weapon reviews, and I tend to save it more for the build videos. But yeah, it's really hard to play well while you're recording your gameplay and doing live commentary. When I first started recording my gameplay, even though I wasn't doing live commentary, I didn't play as well. Like, you feel performance anxiety, basically. Then once I got used to that, I still had to do voiceover. Like, I couldn't do live commentary. It was too hard. Ugh, I took a freaking dot already, man. And then even still now I can do live commentary, but I still don't play my best when I'm doing it. A lot of times people ask me, like, why did you do that? Why didn't you do this? You know, why did you mess that up? Why didn't you do this thing this way? And it's just hard to do everything perfectly, guys. Oh my god, you see what I mean? That's fucking horrible, dude. I'm getting really irritated at myself right now. Because I'm not showing the weapon. I'm not doing the weapon justice. Oh my god. And I don't do do-overs either. I don't let myself re-record runs and like cherry pick a good one. The only time is, like, if I'm doing really bad and I feel like I'm not showing the weapon in the best light, then I'll let myself redo it. But not just to, like, cherry pick a good run, you know. And right now, I mean, I'm playing terribly, and I'm not showing this weapon off very well. So if I keep making mistakes, I'm going to redo this run. But see, it just stripped his shield really easily. That's why I love the Slag Pimpernel. Hopefully we get another Ironclad. I mean, this thing can melt Ironclads as long as you land crits and you have the proper... You need some distance, you know, to do it right. This section is pretty difficult because of you're exposed. You get surrounded, and it's just pretty hard to survive here. So he stripped his shield. The range on this thing is not the best. Oh, wow. You see what I mean? I did not think it would be able to take him out at that range. But yeah, I love being able to strip shields from far away with this. There we go. Nice. I just missed his slag. Nice. Beautiful. Yeah, I really like this weapon. The Synergy might be my favorite non-unique pistol, but the Anarchist is definitely top 2 at least. I feel like there was something else I needed to talk about, but I can't remember exactly what it was. But yeah, as you can see, Shadow also does have a nub. He was born with a nub. But it's kind of funny because his brothers have really long tails. So it looks like they, like, stole his tail or something. So that barrel barely hurt him. It would have sent me into the fucking hospital. So I think when I kill him, Mad Mike is going to spawn, or whatever his name is. So try to save my deception. This weapon does go through ammo pretty quickly, especially if you don't hit your shots. Right, there he is, strip his shield. Pretty tanky shield. We should be able to take him out nice and fast. But I missed my shots, and I'm going to get downed. Oh my god, dude. Terrible performance today. Not bad enough to justify redoing it, though. I should have maneuvered behind him so I had some cover there. Yeah, that was my mistake. Oh well. Getting down, not a big deal. Like I always say, I just get mad at myself when I make mistakes like that. It says, see, now I'm below health gate, so my priority needs to be to get back above health gate. I'm hoping another ironclad will spawn so I can show you guys how quickly this can take them out. See, the Pimpernel just killed him. Come on, come on. But yeah, I am also going to... Oh yeah, I was going to talk about Man of Low Moral Fiber. That's it. Because I'm getting more comments again of people asking if I'm him. Some people are memeing, but some people genuinely think I might be him. I actually saw like an old Reddit post of somebody speculating about this. Because used to in my channel profile, it said, no, I am not Man of Low Moral Fiber. Guys, I said that because people kept asking me. And now in hindsight, like it looks like I was lying. And I was trying to like, you know, just... have an alt, like I was Fiber trying to have an alt. I'm really nothing like Fiber outside of like lacking zero and you know, maybe the way we talk. Obviously, for those of you who don't know, he turned out to be really racist, and he you know, some people will accuse me of lying. You can go look at the comments on his most recent video. He, like, you'll see people talking about elves and stuff. That is a Jewish dog whistle. That is, they're talking about Jewish people. But he also said like a ton of horrible stuff about black people. And, you know, a lot of these people, they're cowards. They won't say what they actually think. So they talk in dog whistles so that their little buddies will know what they're saying. But normies will say that people like me are just like oversensitive leftists who are, you know, say that everybody is racist. But, you know, it's pretty clearly just a dog whistle. But yeah, he's just a piece of shit. And again, outside of lacking zero and stuff, I'm nothing like him. We take these guys out. Nice. 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 I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to streaming with the face cam eventually. I don't know if that is better or worse for retention. But, you know, then I could prove that I'm not him. Like, somebody asked, like, why would you put that you're not Fiber in your profile if, you know, like, why would you do that? That makes it look like you are him. So I removed it, and yeah, I'm not. But yeah, if you want to look up what he said, it's out there. Oh no, actually, I covered that in my Sniper Maya video. I showed the screenshot of what he said. I don't want to show it again because it's like horrible. And, you know, if you want to see it, I've already covered it once. There's no reason to keep showing that if, you know, if the information's already out there. Let's retreat a little bit. Again, I start yapping and I lose focus. Now, Man of Low Moral Fiber was like the only Borderlands content creator I watched, so that's probably why there's similarities between our content. I probably did, you know, subconsciously take cues from him for making my content. I think one thing I did was he always ended his videos by saying, I hope to see you next time. And I realized that I say that at the end of every video, so I am going to stop saying that and say something else. And yeah, I know some people are memeing, but some people genuinely think that I'm like him trying to come back with an alt. But I mean, to be honest, normally I wouldn't say something that sounded so arrogant, but honestly, I'm just better than Fiber.
You're just a cheap fucking knockoff. Oh, no. I'm the upgrade.
If you look at the only two raid bosses I practice really speedrunning are the Dragons and Terramorphous. I got better times at 80 OP10 than he got at 72 OP8. And I can't, especially Terramorphous was by a huge margin. I don't think he could even kill him in 2 rises on the, you know, back at 72 OP8. Holy shit. Now again, normally I wouldn't just say something so arrogant, but, you know, with him being such a piece of shit, I'm okay with it. I want to practice some other raid bosses too. I don't think I'll have any problem beating his other times whenever I actually, you know, sit down and try to do it. I realize that sounds very arrogant, and again, I'm not trying to be, but he's a piece of shit, so fuck him. But yeah, there's the Anarchist, excellent weapon. And we will head on over to another character. And you can see here, this is just the skill spec I went with, and we will go ahead and get started here. Like I said, guys, this is not the only way to do things. This is just, you know, the way I prefer to do it. Plenty of other stuff will work. I mean, I probably will go ahead and show that screenshot from Fiber because I've had his fanboys accuse me of lying in the past, and I know they'll take any excuse they can to not look into this. So I'll just briefly show it on screen, but do understand it is very horribly racist. But yeah, pause to read at your own risk. I talked about this in the past. I've had people accuse me of cheating, and one person who did was a fanboy of him. Again, I don't like talking about him that much, but whenever people are going to bring him up and stuff, I don't really have a choice. Did I not take Scorn? Yeah, I did. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I would say in some ways he was probably better than me. I mean, he was probably better at the peak. I haven't invested much time into doing the peak. That's mainly why I don't have any speedruns for it or anything. And I would say I haven't really invested any time doing full game speedruns or like one life runs. I don't think he ever did stuff like that either. But like Dark Smoke has done that stuff. I haven't really invested any time into doing that yet. I might eventually, I don't know. First off, I would prefer to just to do more raid boss speedruns. I don't know if Fiber ever beat Veracitus legitimately with Melee Zero either. He definitely didn't do it at OP10 where it's significantly harder now. I mean, personally, I would rank Rain Bubble and Bore Shot both above Fiber anyway. But, like I said, I probably will eventually practice full game speedruns and one life runs and stuff and try to do more, peak runs. It's just, I don't really like that stuff. I don't like doing full game speed runs. The range is really dropping off here. That's my bad. Like for raid bosses, I didn't even like speedrunning them at first. I just kind of enjoyed it. I started to enjoy it as I was doing it more. And for those of you who have seen my Terramorphous world record speedrun, I did that on an accident almost. I was sick with the flu really bad, and I was just doing runs over and over. I was actually working on a series where I just farmed all of Terra's unique drops, and I accidentally got like the second place world record with that with a legit setup, not gibbed. And then I realized, okay, well, I can get this world record, and that's when I started going for it. Like I said, when I was sick, I was able to get it. But outside of that, that's the only time I sat down and practiced it. And then I did the dragons as well, and I think I got third place. Rain Bubble has like a 64-second kill, which is insane. But like I said, I would prefer to do more raid bossing speedruns. They're more fun to me because for one, you get good loot from those raid bosses, a lot of them, and they don't take like as long. Like to learn to speedrun the regular game, like the full game, is going to be a huge process, and I just don't enjoy it. And I'm also not crazy about the peak either, but that is stuff I want to attempt eventually. But you know, for my immediate plans, it's just gonna be trying to do more raid boss speedruns soon. Something I want to get back into. But yeah, I highly recommend checking out Rain Bubble if you guys haven't. He's got some really great speedruns. And also Bore Shot. I don't know, he's got I think the world record Melee Zero speed kill for Veracitus. If you can call it a speed kill, it still took a long time because Veracitus is an unholy abomination. But yeah, like I said, I try not to talk about him too much, but he does get mentioned a lot on my channel, so. And I mean, I can see why. I'm not like I said, I'll start changing my outro and shit. And as you can see, we're able to kill these guys very quickly, so very excellent weapon. I should have swapped my grenade around. I forgot to, I don't know what I'll take. I just do singularity, I guess. See his face, shoot his helmet off. There we go. And like the dragons are my favorite fight, so I didn't mind speedrunning them. Even that was annoying because of how buggy they are. Like so many good runs. You'll have so many good runs that will end up failing just because of, you know, the buggy nature of that fight. But when it does, you know, play properly, it's a ton of fun. And I will link to those 2 speed runs if you want to check those out. Like I said, those are the only 2 I've really done. Well, I've done Vermivorous as well, but I don't really count him because I don't think a lot of people have attempted to beat him legitimately with 0. I think I got the world record for him for beating Vermivorous with a legit 0 build, meaning not using board to just kill him. But again, no one has really attempted it, so I don't really count that one. Nice. Yeah, just excellent damage. It does go through ammo pretty quickly, but with weighted drops and, you know, ammo vendors and ammo pickups, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. We've almost made it through this first wave here. Or first round, I should say. Okay, these guys are pretty tanky. There we go. Excellent damage, though, when I can actually land all my shots when I'm at close range like that. Got a couple of tough enemies here. Oh, several. So let's do this. Let's just grab him and take him out first. There we go. 1 magazine. Don't want to expose myself to both of these guys, so I'm just going to be patient and wait for my phase lock. There we go. Nice. Yeah, guys, like I said, I do really appreciate the support. Got plenty more videos coming, and do let me know what weapons you would like to see reviewed. Like I said, I will eventually try to get around to all of them. But there we go. There's the Garnet Anarchist, an excellent weapon. One of my favorites. Highly recommend checking it out. It is a Vladoff pistol with a Vladoff barrel. It does get that matching barrel bonus. And, you know, do consider liking and subscribing if you enjoy the video. If you're mad at me for saying bad things about Man of Low Moral Fiber, you can fuck off. I don't really care. But yeah, guys, I do really appreciate the channel members. Extra special thanks to Legan Weirdna and Evan for being Verastus Slayers. Really appreciate the support, guys. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. But yeah, thanks, guys. See you later. Be here next time.